But in addition to that, I want the states to run schools, and I want Linda to put herself out of a job.
So you want to do the president with an executive order?
I'd like to be able to do it. Yeah, I would like to be able to. Look, if I could give the schools back to Iowa and Idaho and Indiana and all these places that run properly, there's many of them. I think so. If you look at the list, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, believe it or not, China's doing very well on that list, a list of well-educated, where they run their school system well. You have a lot of countries, not surprising names. I think that if you moved our schools into some of these states that are really well-run states, they would be as good as Denmark and Norway and Sweden and some of the other states. And then you'd have the laggards, and you know who they are. I don't have to go to it, but you'd have the laggards, the same laggards that are laggards with everything else, including crime. But even them, you'll break it into systems. As an example, if you went to New York, you go to Westchester County, you go to Dutchess County, you go to Suffolk and Long Island and Nassau and Long Island. You have maybe 6 or 7 locations. And you have New York City, which would include the 5 boroughs. And I think even that would run much better than it does right now. Same thing with Los Angeles or California. You'd have Riverside. You'd break it up into 6 or 7, but most of them would be states, and you'd have one. Like in Iowa, you give it to the state of Iowa. You give it to the state of Indiana. These are really well-run states. They don't have debt. They don't have problems. They don't have any crimes, relatively speaking, to speak of. And you would have education that would be the equivalent of Norway and Denmark and various other places that are at the top of the list. So we're at the bottom of the list, and we're the most expensive. We're at the top of the list when it comes to cost per pupil. We spend more money per pupil than any other nation in the world, and yet we're rated number 40. The last ratings came out, you saw them. So they talk about 40 countries. We're rated number 40.
What sense does that make? And it just points to errant spending, misappropriation of funds. Like somebody's not managing the money right. Something is not right. Somebody is not managing the money right, which is why you need businessmen. And I make the emphasis, businessmen and entrepreneurs like Trump and Elon. Who better for the job? Who knows more about money than the most successful entrepreneurs that really we know in current times than Trump and Elon? Get these guys in here. Trump, he's already has experience as a presidency, so this is round 2. He's running it back. Elon is getting his first taste of being a part of government and then being an official government employee. Let these guys in there. Let them get their hands on it, work their magic, man, and sit back, relax, enjoy a fatter stack in your wallet, man.
40. And I say that if we did this, we would go 20, 30 notches up. We could do great. And we would have some of the best districts in the world.
Are you looking to do that with an executive order, sir, or do you need to work with Congress?
Well, there are some people that say I could. I think I'd work with Congress. I think we'd have to work with the teachers union, because the teachers union is the only one that's opposed to it. Nobody else would want to hold them back. Look, we have to tell the teachers union, we're rated last in the world in education of the top 40. We're rated last. We were 38. Now we're 40. We went to 30 now. We went to 40. We're 37. But we're at 40 now. The thing just came out. That's under Biden. Remember that.
Secretary Rubio announced a deal this week that would allow potentially American citizens who are criminals to be put in a different country. Is that something you're looking to do?
No, I didn't know that he announced that yet, but if he did, it's fine, yeah. We have hardened criminals, horrible people. You see him pushing people into subways. The train is coming last week. Guy walking around and just sees somebody waiting for the train. Train's coming 40 miles an hour, and he gets pushed into the subway. And that happens all the time. These are sick people. If we could get them out of our country, we have other countries that would take them. It's no different than a prison system, except it would be a lot less expensive, and it would be a great deterrent. Send them to other countries. If we could go a step further, in other words.
And Trump is echoing my sentiments. I said earlier, you ain't got to go home, but you can't stay here. You know, overstayed your welcome. You done had your fun, but it's time to go. First class plane. We'll treat you nice. We'll give you a nice little plane. You know, you can stretch your legs. We ain't gonna give you that 48 inches. We're gonna give you the 56. You can stretch your legs out, but you're going back home. Bye. Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your stay, but you will not be welcome.
We're talking about getting the criminals out of our country that come in through other countries illegally, right? The illegal migrants, as I call them. Well, we have people that are just as bad as them in our country. If we could get them out, I'd be very happy to get them out.
El Salvador said that he would wanted you to pay a fee for that. Would you pay that?
Well, it's a very small fee compared to what we pay to private prisons.
But under what
And a very, very small fee. I don't know. We'll have to find that out legally. I'm just saying, if we had the legal right to do it, I would do it in a heartbeat. I don't know if we do or not. We're looking at that right now. But we could make deals where we'd get these animals out of our country. And, you know, if you take the shooters, the people that hit old ladies in the back of the head with a baseball.
So I really want, I really want to clip this up right here. This is literally going to be a clip. Expect me to clip this up tonight, because when Trump is talking about these animals need to get out of here, people want to purposely misinterpret that and say he's being racist, he's being a bigot, he's talking about all migrants, he's talking about all brown people. Like, no, he's literally referencing by event the type of people he's talking about, the type of people he's referencing. There was a video last week apparently of a migrant pushing a person in front of a subway instead of a subway car, stuff like that. The Lake and Riley story, right? There's countless of other stories like that. These are the animals he's talking about. He ain't talking about all brown folk. He ain't talking about everybody from South America, anybody from a Latin country. And I hate that the media tries to spin that. So this is literally going to be a clip, and I want everybody to come back here for reference, because he's telling you the animals he's talking about.
That when they're not looking, they walk down the street. The people.
Yeah. They need to get the hell out of here. And shout out Hellbat, $5. Denmark, Sweden, UK, Finland, Germany, Canada, Norway, Japan, Switzerland, Australia are the top 10 ordered 1 through 10 worldwide need of reform to education systems for show.
People that you see it, the people that take out a gun and shoot you for no reason at all.
And guys, we're 38 super chats away from opening that call in, man. Come on, guys. Open, man. I want to talk to the members tonight, man. We got a lot going on in politics and news, man. I really want to get some of the members up here on call tonight. Let's open up that call in, guys. 38 super chats away.
We could get these animals out of our country and put them in a different country under the supervision of somebody that made a relatively small fee to maintain these people. Because you know what? These are criminals. You call them hardened criminals. They've been in jail 40 times. There's one 42 times. And every time the person gets out, it's a he. Every time he gets out, he commits another crime within 24 hours. And it's a heinous crime. It's a rough crime. We don't want these people in our country either. We don't want them in our country. If we had the option to get them out and let them be based in some other country at a fraction of the cost, and frankly, they could keep them, because these people are never going to be any good. That person that has been arrested 42 times or 22 times or 17 times and is all in for manslaughter and everything else, and only gets out because of a very weak judicial system that only goes after people like Trump. They don't go after the criminals. They don't go after people like this. And they laugh at our law. If that took place, you would have a lot less crime automatically.
So Guantanamo Bay, on Guantanamo Bay is there enough space there to accommodate?
There's a lot of space to accommodate a lot of people, yeah. So we're going to use it.
Can you talk a little bit?
We have it. It's already up. It's we have it for nothing, but we can do less expensive and even more secure. We've had other countries come to us saying we would love to do that. We would love to take your criminals and we'll maintain that. We'll be their jail. And I'm only talking for the most severe cases. Like, I watched that guy on tape pushing the man into the subway last week. That man that did that is a real bad guy. Many, many arrests. And do you think you're going to convince him someday to be good and a wonderful, wonderful citizen for our country? It's never going to happen.
And he's referenced that like 3 times, really making the emphasis like these are the animals, these are the bad guys that I'm kicking the hell out. Shouldn't nobody have a problem with getting guys like that out of here? They again should be on the first plane back to their country, wherever you came from. You can't be here doing shit like that. Too much of a threat, and it's a national security threat. Now, and I keep saying that it truly is travesty that they were even let in the first place. Well, we should be thanking Trump for trying to get these people out of here. These are the animals he's referencing, not all brown folk. I hate the media tries to even spin it like that. It's insane that they try to racially bait us with such low-hanging fruit. Insane. But this is what they try and do, guys. Chat, stay woke. This is what they try and do. But these are the animals Trump is literally talking about.
I want to get those people out. I'd love to get them out along with the illegal migrants. The migrants are rough, but we have some bad ones too. I'd like to get them out. It would be all subject to the laws of our land, and we're looking at that to see if we can do it.
What other countries have offered to take American citizens?
Say it.
What other countries have offered to take these Americans?
Numerous, many. And Marco brought it up today. I'm glad he did, because a lot of people are thinking it. When I watch some of the crimes being committed in New York City and Chicago, look at Chicago, the volume of crime that they have and the viciousness of the crime. These people are horrible people. And if somebody thinks they're going to be wonderful citizens someday, they're wrong. It's not going to happen.
And that directly connects to the point I had made yesterday on stream when we were covering that journalists in New York essentially saying that New York has become a safe haven for some of these gang members, some of these violent offenders, because they have certain protected status in these sanctuary cities. Crazy. They were let in, welcomed them in, paid their bills just for them to be criminal hideouts.
It's not
safe beds for criminals. Like insane. You didn't pose a threat for every New Yorker who's just there living life. They got to encounter gang members and known murderers now. And that is happening.
going to happen. They're bad. These are hard, tough criminals. In many cases, they're crazy. They're absolutely crazy. But they're very dangerous. If I could get them out of the country and be in some other country where they're glad to have them because they make a small fee compared to what we pay to a private prison or to, put them in one of our prisons that costs even more money, I think it would be great. I'd love to get them the hell out of our country. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
I don't want to say, but there's a certain quarterback that seems to be a pretty good winner.
All right, now let's skip ahead because we did have a short conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu and Trump sitting in the same office here, and then they did a full press conference. Guys, we're going to break down the whole thing. Like the video if you haven't already, man. I swear we're just getting started on tonight's stream, so it's not too late. Show some love to your boy. Double tap that screen, man. It's free. It's free, man. You done paid $10 for your Starbucks coffee. You done paid another $10 for your McDonald's lunch. It's free. All I ask is you double tap that screen. 3 buttons in the upper right-hand corner. Let's have some fun with it, guys. Super chat in to open up that call in. 38 super chats away from opening that call in, hearing from some of those supporters and members. Maybe we can get a detractor up here, get a good debate going on. People be crazy with that TDS, man. It should be fun. Let's keep it going. 38 super chats away, guys. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Last one, because you mentioned it many times.
Right here.
Go live and signing on with it.
Bada boom, bada bing. Let's do this thing.
Mr. President, do you expect phase 2 of the hostage deal to go forward?
Let me talk to you later.
Mr. President, you managed to get this deal done. A lot of people say that the men who managed to do that should get a Nobel Peace Prize. Do you think that you'll be able to get all the hostages back home? And what would happen if you hear from the
They will
Israelis that?
never give me a Nobel Peace Prize.
What would happen if the Israeli
I deserve it, but they will never give it to me.
What would happen, sir? What would happen?
Normalization to go forward? What needs to happen for normalization in Saudi Arabia?
Well, we're going to see, and we're dealing with a lot of people, and we have steps to go yet, as you know, and maybe those steps go forward, and maybe they don't. We're dealing with a very complex group of people, situation and people, But we have the right man. We have the right leader of Israel. He's done a great job. And we've been friends for a long time. And we do a great job also. And I think we have a combination that's very unbeatable, actually.
Can I ask, what would happen, Mr. President? What would happen, Mr. President? What would happen if you hear?
Wait a minute. Wait. Where is that person? Where's that person coming from? Come on. Go, you go.
What would happen if?
I'm surprised they're not clapping. Wasn't he in front of how many? Hey, chat. How many times did they record Congress clapping when Bibi Netanyahu was here last time? It was like a record number of times Congress was recorded clapping for this man. They clapped more than he spoke. I mean, you would have thought this man literally rapped the hardest freestyle or something, bro. It was like endless, just like they was going crazy for that man. It was insane. But yeah, I guess the reporters are happy to see Benjamin Netanyahu back.
You'll hear from the Israeli side today that they're not willing to go through with the deal to get all the hostages back home and finish the war.
We'll see what happens. Whatever happens, we'll be prepared to handle the situation.
Are the Saudis demanding a Palestinian state?
Mr. President.
Are the Saudis demanding a Palestinian state?
No, they're not. No.
Are they demanding a path towards a Palestinian state or any other recognition
Everybody's
of that
demanding one thing. You know what it is? Peace. We want peace. We want people to stop being killed.
Wait,
everybody's.
What was that question? Because I didn't like that chuckle from Benjamin Netanyahu. It was pompous. I'm not gonna lie. That was a very pompous giggle or laugh. Very subtle laugh. Pompous and subtle.
Palestinian state or any other recognition
Everybody's
of that
demanding one thing. You know what it is? The situation.
Is demanding a Palestinian state?
No, they're not. No.
Are they demanding a path towards a Palestinian state or any other recognition
Everybody's
of that
demanding one thing. You know what it is? Peace. We want peace. We want people to stop being killed. But everybody's demanding one thing. Very simple, peace. And he wants peace also.
Mr. President, do you think it's politically possible in Israel?
Are you sure? Can he say that? Can he confirm he wants peace? Like Trump, let him say that. Let him speak on his want for peace, his direct want, his plan for peace. Let him personally speak on that. You know what? Maybe he will. But that's something we need to hear from Benjamin Netanyahu himself. Can't have Trump speaking for him on that one.
This deal done until the end.
To get the deal done?
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, is it politically
Why wouldn't a deal get done? A deal can get done. We'll see what happens. We're dealing with very complicated people, but a deal can absolutely get done.
Israeli strike on Iran.
We'll see what happens.
President Trump, I want from Prime Minister Netanyahu. We've heard Joe Biden and Donald Trump take credit for the hostage and ceasefire deal. Who do you think deserves more credit?
I think President Trump added great force and powerful leadership to this effort. I appreciate it. He sent a very good emissary. He's helped it along. And, I'll just tell you, I'm happy that they're here. And I'm sure the president is happy that they're here. And I would think that's about enough.
Mr. Prime Minister, what about Elizabeth Turkov, the Israeli hostage held in Iraq?
What about the Israeli press taking a press conference in Israel and not in Washington?
We would love to take a press conference.
I think Benjamin Netanyahu is probably used to a little bit more friendly journalism. I don't think he's used to as much pushback. He seems to have turned from a pompous laugh to a nervous smile. Okay. All right, he's kind of on the burner here. These American journalists are giving him a little pushback, and I don't think he probably gets as much in Israel. And he didn't even really. I don't know how many times over the past 2 years since October 7th have we seen him in front of American journalists and American reporters. He came last time. He did a speech in front of Congress, but did he take any questions? I don't remember. I can't exactly remember. So it looks like he's getting some pushback, some flack that he's not really used to.
A few more questions. Prime Minister Netanyahu, do you support going forward with this deal and getting all the hostages out?
I support getting all the hostages out and meeting all our war goals that include destroying Hamas's military and governing capabilities, and making sure that Gaza never poses a threat to Israel again.
Are you willing?
All three.
Are you willing
And
to
those
agree? Are you
things
willing
go
to agree?
together?
Are you willing
Can
to
you
agree
promise to the
Trump's
families
vision
that you
to
do
bring all
everything
the
to get the
hostages
hostages out?
I think that I should talk to President
one at a
Trump.
time? So
Okay.
I'll ask: do you agree with Trump's vision of getting all the hostages back home, even if it means to end the war?
Well, I'm not sure that you articulate correctly what the president's vision is. You can ask, he can speak for himself. He does that very, very well. I have my own views, 3 goals, not 1, not 2, 3 goals, and I will meet all 3 goals. I think the president can help enormously. He brings fresh thinking.
Any address to the fact that terrorists who murdered hundreds of people who listed their home as the part of the deal?
It's a horrible thing. We can't forget it. I'll never forget it, and you can't forget it. And some people want to put it out of their memory, but we're not going to ever let that happen.
We shouldn't forget October 7th, and we shouldn't get the bloodshed that was done, the lives that were lost before October 7th. Those should not be ignored, nor should they be disrespected by over highlighting October 7th.
It was a horrible day, October 7th. That was a horrible period of time. And a lot of people like to pretend it didn't happen. It happened. It's a big group of people that like to pretend it didn't happen, like the Holocaust didn't happen. Same mindset. No, we're going to get this thing wrapped up, and we're going to get it done. We're also dealing, I think, very successfully with Russia, Ukraine. We're going to hopefully get that one done at some point in the not too distant future. That's a complex problem also, but we solve problems. When I left, we had no problem. There was no Ukraine and Russia fighting. There was no October 7th. There was nothing. And some very poor leadership led to a lot of problems and a lot of death. And it's a shame, but we'll put it out. We'll put out the fires. We have a lot of fires, but we'll put them out.
Mr. President, why is one support the Palestinian state like the peace plan you presented in January 2020? Is this plan still on the table?
Well, a lot of plans change with time, and a lot of death has occurred since I left and now came back. This death occurred not while I was here, but while somebody else was here. It shouldn't have happened. They shouldn't have allowed it to happen. It would have never happened. And that includes Russia, Ukraine would have never happened. Not even a little bit, not even a chance. But now we are faced with a situation that's different, in some ways better and in some ways worse. But we're faced with a very complex and difficult situation, but we'll solve the problem.
Refugees get from Gaza, out of Gaza. If not Jordan, Egypt, what other countries you think might accept Palestinians from Gaza?
Well, I think Jordan and Egypt will. I know they've spoken about it with you, and they say they're not going to accept. I say they will. But I think other countries will accept also. I think that Gaza maybe is a demolition site right now. If you look at Gaza, there's hardly a building standing, and the ones that are going to collapse. You can't live in Gaza right now.
And I wonder why that is. Why is that, Trump? Why isn't there a building left? Hospitals, schools, not to mention people's homes, people's businesses, people's livelihoods destroyed, decimated, sitting in rubble. Why is that? Who did that? What military? What initiative? Who funded it? Who sanctioned it? Who okayed it?
Now, and I think we need another location. I think it should be a location that's going to make people happy. You look over the decades, it's all death in Gaza. This has been happening for years. It's all death. If we can get a beautiful area to resettle people permanently in nice homes and where they can be happy and not be shot, not be killed, not be knifed to death like what's happening in Gaza. And right now you have in Gaza a very dangerous situation in terms of explosives all over the place, in terms of tunnels that nobody knows who's in the tunnel. The whole thing is a mess. And I think that if we can resettle, and I believe we can do it.
Let's not forget that Benjamin Netanyahu gave them that money that they used to build this elaborate tunnel system, though. Let's not forget that. Let's not negate that. So they chose to use that money because they knew at some point that probably their city, their precious land was going to be decimated, was going to be destroyed, carpet bombed. and they wonder why they have this elaborate system underground. Yeah, probably because they seen something like this coming. Let's be honest. Let's use our critical thinking here. Why would they go to the means or to the ends of building such an elaborate cave system, underground network, to where people could not only live but low-key survive, beyond survive, underneath the ground? Probably because they seen something like this coming, most likely.
Good in areas where the leaders currently say no. I mean, I've been saying that with Mexico, having to do with the border and all of the things, and you saw what happened, 10,000 soldiers, and they're going to do a good job. I really believe that, and I believe Canada is going to do a good job also. And they said the same thing, and then they did something much different than what you were hearing. This is a very, very difficult situation, but we're going to get it solved. I don't think people should be going back to Gaza. I think that Gaza has been very unlucky for them. They've lived like hell. They lived like you're living in hell. Gaza is not a place for people to be living. And the only reason they want to go back, and I believe this strongly, is because they have no alternative. What's the alternative? Go where? There's no other alternative. If they had an alternative, they'd much rather not go back to Gaza and live in a beautiful alternative that's safe.
Mr. President,
I think he's just trying to set a narrative with that. I did mention Trump knowing how to work a deal, knowing how to negotiate a deal. Sometimes you have to start with that hyperbole. It's like, think about how a bid works. You start at the top. As the bidder, you start at the top. The sellers, okay, as a seller, you start at the top. The bidder somewhere at the bottom. You lowball, hopefully meeting somewhere in the middle. And that's what Trump does. He speaks with hyperbole, hopefully working out a deal somewhere in the middle. That's just how he works his deals. So I think that's honestly hopeful thinking by Trump, because again, I don't think that these people willfully or agreeably leave. Most won't, some probably will, but most won't. So I'm not sure how. And again, peace in the Middle East goes beyond just a saying. It's more than just a statement. So I'm not really sure how that gets carried out, but we'll see.
Would Palestinians have the right to return to Gaza if they left while the rebuilding was happening?
It would be my hope that we could do something really nice, really good, where they wouldn't want to return. Why would they want to return? The place has been hell. It's been one of the meanest, toughest places on earth. And right now, I've seen every picture from every angle, better than if
And I'll say it again. This is where I disagree with Trump. I don't think these people willfully leave. Even the reporters giving him some pushback on that, just because, like, if you know where the beef stems from, it is partially over this land. That is a component of where this beef is really stems from. So to think that these people would just be like, you know what, it is safer elsewhere, or I'm tired of beefing, let's just leave. Like, no, these people's identity is culturally and religiously tied to this land. So to think that they leave is almost insensitive.
I were there, and nobody can live there. You can't live there. So if we can build them through a massive amounts of.
And again, even if you want to place them somewhere else for the time being and move them back in after it's built up, they're not going for that. Palestinians, come on, they're not dumb at all. Like I said, Gaza, the Gaza Strip, prime real estate, A1. They know it's going to be built back up, whether it's by them or another government or another entity. They know it's going to be built back up, and they're still going to want that land, which is almost why I would emphasize why they won't want to leave, because they're not going to be swindled. Come on now. They done lost too many lives. Blood been shed too many times on that end for them to just be like, okay, we're going to leave.
Money supplied by other people, very rich nations, and they're willing to supply it. If we can build something for them in one of the countries, and it could be Jordan, and it could be Egypt, it could be other countries, and you could build 4 or 5 or 6 areas. It doesn't have to be one area, but you take certain areas and you build really good quality housing, like a beautiful town, like someplace where they can live and not die. Because Gaza is a guarantee that they're going to end up dying. The same thing's going to happen again. It's happened over and over again, and it's going to happen again as sure as you're standing there, Peter. So I hope that we could do something where they wouldn't want to go back. Who would want to go back?
What? Okay, I don't know about that one. That one, I don't know about that one, Trump. I don't know. I'm gonna let him finish, but I don't know about that one. I don't know.
You what? They've experienced nothing but death and destruction.
Hey, and shout out Culture. Always, it's like a tongue twister for me. I love the name too. Couture Leotards. Couture Leotards. $10. Why do people who didn't vote for Trump think that people who did have buyer's remorse in week 2? Exactly. It's like they keep mentioning it, hoping it's true, but this is 2 weeks. Fire. Trump is not playing. No, he is not. And I would say in the last 2 weeks, the trajectory for America is higher than it's been in the last 4 years. So, yeah. Shout out Trump, though. I like that he's getting in here and he's not shy to make decisions and moves. As you see, a lot's been done in 2 weeks. Hell of a president thus far. Hell of a president.
What will you do then?
Well, I don't think they're going to tell me no. I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to tell Biden no, and I think they're going to tell other people no.
So you think it will happen at the end?
I think there's a good chance. Yeah.
How many people are you thinking about?
All of them. I mean, we're talking about probably 1,000,007 people, 1,000,007, maybe 1,000,008. But I think all of them. I think they'll be resettled in areas where they can live a beautiful life and not be worried about dying every day.
Mr. President, do you support building settlements, Jewish settlements back in Gaza in the next years?
Say it.
Building settlements, Jewish settlements back in Gaza in the next year. Do you support this idea?
I don't see it happening. It's too dangerous for people. Nobody can go there. It's too dangerous. Nobody wants to be there. Warriors don't want to be there. Soldiers don't want to be there. How can you have people go back? You're saying go back into Gaza now? The same thing's going to happen. It'll only be death. The best way to do it is you go out and you get beautiful, open areas with the sunlight coming through. And
no, that's not what I meant.
Something
nice.
Israeli
they are not going to want
Gaza. They are not going to want to go back to Gaza.
Prime Minister Netanyahu, what is your message to the families of the hostages that look at this deal, that are worried that this deal won't go through? What do you say to them at this moment?
Oh, and shout out, my bad. I did miss Hellbats. He said $2. I'd guesstimate about 30% will leave. I don't even know about that. I don't know, bro. When you consider how many lives have been lost, and again, you gotta really analyze where, and the beef is multifaceted, multi-nuanced, so it's not just one thing that has these people in such a history to beef, like generational beef. Like this is going on for generations, but a lot of it is tied to the land. So to think people would leave, I don't know. I think the numbers will be somewhere closer to 10 to 20. Some people will leave just for fear of anything happening to them in the future, for their safety, obviously. But even beyond that, I think it would almost be taboo to leave because people have left throughout the beef, like throughout the bloodshed. People have left. Palestinians have migrated to America, to UK, other European countries, so on and so forth. But now for it to have came to this point, it came to this head, and Trump is suggesting that they leave because it's the best thing for them, and they make some type of plan or initiative for these people to get out. I don't know if you're going to get that much cooperation out of the Palestinian people like that. I don't think so. I almost doubt it, really. I think most will stay. I think the numbers would be about 10 to 20%. That'll be like, okay, I just want to live. I'm concerned about my safety and my family more so than anything else. But most, I think, will stay.
Same message I said from the beginning of the war. We get them out, get them back. We got over 70%, close to 75% of the people who everybody believed will not get out. We got them in successive deals. And most recently, with the help of President Trump. We're not going to give up on any of them, and we're not going to give up on our other war aims. Hamas is not going to be in Gaza, and we're going to get everyone back.
And you would not have.
Prime Minister, how optimistic are you about reaching phase 2 of the ceasefire? How optimistic are you about that happening?
Well, we're going to try. That's one of the reasons, one of the things we're going to talk about here. And if we, you know, when Israel and the United States work together, and President Trump and I work together, you know, the chances go up a lot. It's when we don't work together, Israel and the United States don't work together, that creates problems. When the other side sees daylight between us and occasionally in the last few years, to put it mildly, they saw daylight, then it's more difficult. When we cooperate,
it's the right
chances are good.
Once and for all.
Say it.
Now that Iran is so weak, isn't it the right time to hit their nuclear facilities once and for all?
So you say Iran is so weak. I appreciate you saying that. They're not weak. They're very strong right now, and we're not going to allow them to have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. You know, I signed a very strong proclamation. Iran was in big trouble when I left. They were broke. They didn't have money for Hamas. They didn't have any money for Hezbollah. You had no problem. October 7th could have never happened. When I left, October 7th could have never happened. And frankly, Russia and Ukraine, as I said, could never have happened. They became very strong, very fast. They sold massive amounts of oil to China and everybody else who would not buy the oil when I was president, because we said, don't buy the oil. And they became very rich very quickly. But they're not weak. They're not weak. They're strong. Doesn't mean they won't be weak. But you know what? We just don't want them to have a nuclear.
Shout out Hubbard 12, $2. He said you got to factor in the younger generations too. Yeah, that's true. And in what way? I honestly think the younger generations wouldn't want to leave because they've seen the older generations die before their eyes. Like they've lost older cousins, older siblings, mothers, fathers to this violence, to this perpetual violence that's went on for probably the better part of their life. So I think those will be the ones that are like tied, like literally tied to the land. Like, nah, I'm not leaving. I didn't see my peoples die over this shit. You got me f***ed up. Like, I'm not going nowhere. Honestly.
Nuclear weapon. They can't have a nuclear
So
weapon.
the Prime Minister, sorry, Mr. President, the Prime Minister wants you to spike Iran. That's what he wants.
You don't know what he wants. What do you know about anything? Go ahead.
But is that option is on the table?
Yes, please.
President Trump, is that option on the table?
You're not just talking about Georgia.
No, could be other places too. There are many people that have reached out, many countries, many leaders of countries that have reached out that would like to participate in that. Doesn't have to be Jordan and Egypt, but I think it would be also them.
And Mr. President, your relationship with Mr. Netanyahu knew ups and downs.